The Russians have become more active around Kostiantynivka as well. In recent days, the number of assaults has doubled. There, the enemy is trying to repeat the scenario they used in Pokrovsk and in Korokhovo. They are cutting off logistics and sneaking up to the outskirts of the city in small groups. So far, the defense forces have managed to keep the enemy at bay and even sometimes drive them out of the outermost buildings of Kostiantynivka. The defense there is being held by the soldiers of the 24th King Danilo Brigade. It is they who have been holding back the onslaught near Chasiv Yar for over a year now, thereby shielding Kostiantynivka. They mostly repel assaults using drones and artillery. But for long-range flights, pilots need more powerful antennas. So the defenders are asking for help with the fundraiser that will be featured in the report by war correspondent Oleg Kornienko.
Despite the rain and bad roads, the driver presses the gas, fearing enemy forces. The closer you get to the front lines, the more often you see burned-out vehicles. Enemy drones are in the sky around the clock. So speed matters here. We reach the positions of the artillerymen from the 24th Brigade without any trouble. Every day these soldiers hold back enemy assaults. They set the occupiers on fire with this self-propelled artillery unit. This is a Gvozdika. Its caliber is 122 millimeters. It can hit the Russians even if they're hiding at a distance of 20 kilometers. Mainly it's used against infantry.
And a bit less often in comparison to other targets against fortification structures, like dugouts or other fortified buildings and structures where enemy infantry is hiding or taking cover.
Thick fog and rain provide excellent cover for movement and assaults. And the Russians take advantage of this. That's why the artillerymen are especially on alert on such days. The order to cover our infantry can come at any moment. Like right now, the artillerymen have received the order to fire and are preparing to strike. Within minutes, the crew is already ready for action. The gun is aimed, the shells are loaded, but suddenly the artillerymen receive the order to stand down.
We were carrying out a combat mission, wanted to fire, but the order was cancelled. For now, the target is no longer relevant, so we're staying in cover.
The 24th Brigade is one of those that has been holding Chasiv Yar for over a year. At the same time, they are preventing the enemy from advancing toward Kostiantynivka. For the past 6 months, the Russians have been relentlessly striking the city with guided bombs and artillery. There are also FPV drones constantly raining down from the sky.
It's flying, 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 flying.
The drone detector never stops and the sound of FPVs keeps getting closer and closer. And here, near the front line, it's impossible to immediately tell whose drone it is. So in any case, it's better to hide and wait it out.
If you can't see something and start shooting, you might give yourself away. If you step out somewhere and they spot you,
the drones fly by and the soldiers immediately get to work. The enemy is trying to use the weather to slip by unnoticed. One after another, 122mm shells are sent toward the occupiers. The Korolevichy barely have time to reload, but they don't stop. Our infantry is really counting on their fire support over there. They're having the hardest time right now.
it's good. It's good that we made it in time. That's the most important thing. Now we'll move to safer positions here.
At the same time, our pilots are also repelling similar assaults. But for long-distance flights, antennas are needed. You can help buy them by donating using the details on the screen. Meanwhile, the artillerymen are finishing off the enemy concentration. Oleg Kornienko, Fakti STB, United News.
The lower section of the front from the Pokrovsk direction. We are joined by Roman Pizarenko, head of the communications department of the 79th Separate Air Assault Tavria Brigade. Mr. Roman, welcome.
Good evening. Glory to Ukraine.
Glory to the heroes. Please tell us, what is the current nature of the enemy's combat actions? Today we have already spoken with a military expert. Some say that over the weekend the enemy slowed down their assaults a bit, but the 7th Air Assault Brigade reported today that the enemy has become more active. So what is actually happening today?
Excuse me, I would like to correct you a little bit. Not the 7th Air Assault Brigade, but probably the spokesperson of the 7th Air Assault Corps.
7th, sorry about that. Yes,
Yes, the 7th Corps. Yes, we belong to it, specifically to the 7th Corps. And yes, indeed, the enemy is extremely active in our sector of the front. He doesn't stop using his assault troops for even a minute. Constant assault actions every day, every minute, every second. They keep trying to push. From early morning, as soon as it gets a little lighter, until evening, until it's completely dark, they try to storm our positions. As for the claim that they've stalled, well, you can't really say they've stalled. Yes, the weather conditions are having some effect. It's been raining a bit, there's more fog, and this affects both reconnaissance and movement. In other words, moving around is becoming more difficult.
Similarly, the spokesperson for the 7th Corps reports that the occupiers are disguising themselves in civilian clothes and in this way keep infiltrating the city again and again. Is this true? Is that really the case?
Look, I can't tell you specifically about the settlement of Pokrovsk because that's not exactly within the area of responsibility of our military unit. The area of responsibility of our unit is the settlement of Myrnohrad. Such large sabotage and reconnaissance groups, DRG as in Pokrovsk, such a large number of DRGs do not advance into the settlement of Myrnohrad itself. In other words, we don't let them enter this settlement at all. Regarding the fact that DRGs disguise themselves in civilian clothes and try to enter the city of Pokrovsk, I have also heard this information, but I cannot confirm it because it is not within the area of responsibility of my military unit.
What is the current situation with logistics? Official sources also say that it has been restored and is working. How is it with the delivery of ammunition?
Specifically on our section of the front, our logistics have never stopped. That is, just to clarify, if logistics were to stop working even for a single day, there would be very serious problems. So in our military unit, logistics have always been functioning. Yes, on some days it was a bit more difficult, on other days a bit easier. But we are constantly trying to provide the guys on our front line with everything they need. Large helicopters help us with this, meaning we can use them to deliver supplies, ammunition, and also ground robotic systems. So we position ourselves specifically as a tech landing force, so to speak. And so we have enough of this equipment to supply the guys and at the very least to minimize the risk for those who have to deliver and transport it.
Mr. Roman, whenever we have representatives of the air assault forces on, we always display a QR code. And through this QR code, Ukrainians can follow the link, choose a brigade, and help our defenders. Please tell us, what are your most urgent needs right now?
Regarding following the QR code, since I am the one on air now, I would like to ask our caring people for their support. Thanks to our people, we really do raise significant amounts and purchase everything necessary for our military units. I ask you to join this fundraising effort as well. We purchase everything needed to carry out combat missions. That is, first and foremost, what we need right now is equipment for UAVs, meaning antennas, masts, sometimes firmware, and so on. The range of purchases is very broad, and all of this is being acquired so that we can obtain this equipment as quickly and efficiently as possible, and so that it can immediately start fulfilling its, let's say, combat tasks. This equipment, in many cases, only lasts a few days there. That is the same antennas, masts, and cables that are set up. The enemy is constantly delivering fire strikes on them. Pilot positions are also a priority target for the enemy, and they attack them with everything they have. That's why we need a lot of this equipment.
Mr. Roman, I believe that the viewers have listened to your requests and will donate, will follow the QR code. Thank you for your work and your service. We were joined on air by Roman Pizarenko, head of the communications department of the 79th Separate Air Assault Tavria Brigade of the Air Assault Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine.